Oh, now, I go to work for a computer science corporation, and I stay with her for 2 weeks. And I find a place, and my hours are like from 5 till 11 or 3 till 11, I can't remember, with overtime. Um, but anyway, I want you to remember I had brain damage. So I'm trying to act like nothing, and I'm told not to talk about anything that's happened to me. I'm trying to act normal when my brain has been baked. And I'm so afraid my children are going to be killed. I can't. So I find a room, maybe a mile and a half, I guess, from computer science. And I get off in the hours in the morning, which would be a bit dangerous. But anyway, one of the girls there gives me a lift every night. So I stay there, and then um, I move into, oh, okay, Lady Ellen Gay, who her ex-husband was something to do with Way Television. I believe it was Way. It was one of the network televisions there on Montesano Mountain, and his last name was Gay. Well, she stopped and picked me up and asked me to share an apartment with her. I was walking, and I had the job at computer science. So on about March the 3rd of, this would have been 82, I paid her half the rent and moved in with her. Well, that turned out to be a disaster. The apartments were nice, and we were, at the end of that month, we were going to get a new apartment and have separate bedrooms and everything. Well, her boyfriend, she let him move back in. So that turned out to be kind of bad, one bathroom and all that. So at the end of that month, I moved out in Haystack Apartments and got my own apartment with no furniture. My ex-husband on the Greyhound bus had put my belongings and shipped them, and I did get them into the apartment. So he's rid of me. I don't know if they planned to totally kill me and had insurance on me or what. Not my children. I'm talking about him, and I'm sure Lana Dempsey had insurance. She thought I was going to be dead. So I'm in Haystack, and then I'm working at night, and I go in that day, and suddenly I was allowed to go to my computer and put down my, I remember I had a piece of slice of watermelon to eat that night. And before I could do anything, I was called into the office, and this guy and this woman are screaming like they're nuts. They tell me that I had worked for the district attorney, and you get the hell out of here. So don't even go to my computer desk to pick up my stuff. Well, I did, and they were going to have me arrested. It seems anybody can say, we're going to arrest you, and they do it. Oh, in plain sight they have. So I leave. Now I don't have a job. And I'm using what little money I have. The apartment's I'm going to be evicted because now I can't get a job. I can't. And I'm on foot. There's no city bus. I'm walking, trying to find a job. And, oh, me. I end up getting on the bus and taking loads of my book and letter from the FBI and the talk screen, and I go up there, and I literally get put on the street in D.C. with all this stuff carrying it around, cutting my fingers and hands, turning it over to the media who want no part of any of it, even with a letter from the FBI on it. So I managed to go to the executive mailroom, which is in front of the White House. So I take this bundle of documents, and I did have documents, like the antifreeze, a whole slew of them, the book where I'd done the book, and all this stuff. And the letter from the FBI on the top of this box that held all this stuff. So I go in the White House mailroom, and lo and behold, who comes out with a tag on him? It's Reagan's adopted son, not Ron, the other one, and the adopted one. And he comes out, and he's got his tag on. You have to sign a book to leave the stuff. So it's got the letter from the FBI on front, so that it'll get their attention. I don't know at that time that I'm kidnapped, that I'm the Victoria II, the monarch, and the Reagans are kin to Elizabeth and the same kin to me. So since President Reagan and Nancy spent the night in Buckingham Palace, I can't, invited by Elizabeth, who is the same relationship as I am, I figure now, finding all this out, they aren't my friends. You think? Why would I be in the shape I'm in, being done this way? So rather than helping me, that turned out to be a fiasco. I walked the streets of D.C. and out trying to get a job. I finally begging for a bus ticket, begging for food, a place to stay. And you can't imagine the things I went through, that I'd had a hell of a life, and that was just a continuance of it. Frightened to death, scared to death, walking in the hot sun. Anyway, I ended up having to go back to a friend of mine that worked in computer science paid my ticket back. The apartment hadn't yet been totally closed off to me, so I was managed to stay there a little bit, and I was evicted, the eviction notice. So I'm back and forth, and I'm going to leave out, there's no way to tell it, back and forth, walking in the hot sun, trying to get from here to there to nowhere, really. Ended up, and I am going to leave this out, I ended up walking out from D.C. Everybody should see the picture, though. It's cold. I'm trying to carry the book and stuff in a satchel that had the letter from the FBI, the talks, and my book in it. And I'm walking out the interstate all the way out from D.C., carrying this, and my shoes, I'm freezing to death. I don't have a coat on. My shoes are some sandals, and the toes cut out of one of them. And I'm tripping, going out, and I'm put in the plug. It's getting dark, and it's cold, and I'm having to get in a car hoping someone will not hurt me, okay? Let me put it this way. I got to Thomasville, Georgia, and these were good Irish guys. Picked me and another fellow up. He was supposedly hitchhiking. And they put me out in Martinez, which is close to Thomaston, Georgia. And I'll say this, I was taken out there in the forest in Thomaston, and I'm going to leave out what happened. I almost died. Everything was taken off of me, ID, book, letters, everything. I ended up managing to live. I was tied up and everything. And I got taken to, was that Lawrence? Well, that's where I was taken to the hospital where Larry Flint had been taken. Oh, I can't remember if that was later because there was more incidents. And horrible. Me trying to live, being put on the side of the road, really, and just shut down. So anyway, I made it. I got actually, I got turned loose after I was taken from being, all that happened in the forest out at Thomaston. The police actually turned me out on the sidewalk again, and I was put into hitchhiking at night after all this had happened. Hadn't slept. It was horrible. Got a ride into Atlanta, and I don't even want to remember the things that happened. I couldn't find my sons. It was a nightmare. I did finally contact Mark, who came out and picked me up later and took me to a motel in Cobb County near where I live in Marietta. And the next day I remember I walked to the police station to try to get a court order to make him pay me support according to the divorce. And instead, what happened is I get the cops. They, excuse me, they come and lock me up and haul me off to Lawrenceville. By the way, that's where Flint was shot. They hauled me off to Lawrenceville, and I they locked my hands and everything and put me in, and they tell me that there's a court order to have me committed. So they're using the mental health again. And I don't want to say this because my sons are victims just as much as I am. They never really knew the truth. When they, and by the way, Cobb County, Tom Sharon, Darden, and I like Darden. He ran later in the campaign against, to replace Larry McDonald when I ran in '83. So I don't like Buddy Darden, but anyway, the Cobb County, the Atlanta Journal, the Bureau of Investigation, even what I'm getting ahead of myself and talking too fast, typed my book. A girl that worked at the crime lab actually typed my book. I paid her. I didn't know she worked there till I called her, and it was the crime lab. And so there's people that knew this all the time that was going on. So this is fast forwarding back to my ex-husband is using the mental health to have me locked up. I did not know he had remarried. I did not know it. Right after April Fool Day, it's my understanding now that it wasn't long after then that he married a woman living there at Laurelwood. So they planned my death along with Lois, and I don't know who else got in on it. And then I'm taken where the doctors pick up at the emergency room when I go for a tox screen April the 1st of '80. And I did not know till I was locked up then, well later actually, that my ex-husband and his wife Twyla, I don't know her last name now, but she lives in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and that's her first name, Twyla. They had tried to have me serve the papers to have me committed. And evidently the police said, no, you have to have someone who's related to her. So John, my ex-husband, signed the papers. They let me see them, and he forced my sons, is exactly what he did to sign it. They never knew the truth about this. So I'm locked up, scared to death if they're going to give me Halidol and kill me. And I got out there, and I remember that night, and this is the part about my identity. Like, I worked for Doyle Duke, and Fred Simpson lived at Warren House. One of the girls there kept telling me that she had been kidnapped, and that her name was really Penny Lane. Well, later, it didn't mean that much to me at the time, but Penny Lane was a Beatle song, and so anyway, they didn't kill me there. It was horrible, but and I was put out on the street, and that was hell in Atlanta. And I'm trying to think, I ended up cold, freezing, walking all over Atlanta, begging. It was horrible. And I ran into Maynard Jackson, the mayor, and I went up to him and I said, do you know who I am? And he said, yes, I do. And then he walked out and got in a limo and left. And I went to Andy Young because he had become mayor, and he wouldn't see me. And the deal that I later found out, I'd written about mind control. I still didn't know at that time my real name. I found out, of course, mind control was used in the Kennedy, the programming, and it was also used in the Martin Luther King. I actually went to Mrs. King's office downtown, and she wouldn't see me. She sent someone else out, and he actually asked me to step outside to talk to me. And he told me that they knew about mind control, that a friend of his, and he mentioned South Africa, which at the time I thought, what are you telling me about South Africa? That a friend of his had gone to the dentist and had it a root canal and come back and actually ran into the wall and smashed himself up. And I believe that if you know about what can be done with mind control.